Hello. So, our group, and I'm sure many of you, have had jobs where we had to use some kind of computerized clock and hours tracking system. And a lot of the time, they can be not very good. They can be ancient or hard to use or just frustrating in general. So, our goal with this project was to make a user friendly, modern clock and an hours tracking system, and here it is. For the front end, we used React and Axios. For the API, we used Koa.js, and for the database, we used MariaDB. Our program has two different views for employees and managers. The employee view has 3 pages, a clock in and clock out page, a schedule viewer, and a page to send and receive messages. The manager view has those 3 pages plus 3 additional pages, a schedule builder, a time card approval page, and a page to update employee hours.
This is EMPS, an employee management and payroll system designed to be intuitive for use. Now, let's look at the employee-facing menus and see what they see, which is going to be coming into the clock in and clock out menu. Here is probably all the employee is going to need. You clock in, you log out, you go about your day, you decide to log back in, and you clock out. And for most employees, that's your day-to-day. Now, there are a few other menus, such as work schedule, where you can see what schedule you might be working that day with starting time, ending time, and the rows are differentiated with different colors to prevent them from all fading into just a single blob of color. Looking over to messages, we can see the messages that we have received, and we'll be able to see the messages we have sent. Now, looking at this message, we notice that we left the doors unlocked when we left. So let's go first, select the person we're going to send the message to. As we can see, this message has come from Argyle de Silva. We will select that. And we also know the message was us talking about how we left the doors locked. So let's send a message back saying, we'll remember to keep the doors locked. Now you click send message and you'll see the message is updated here with us having it. Now let's go over to Argyle de Silva's view to confirm the message actually went all the way through. Now, looking at Argyle de Silva's messages, we can see a message from today from John Smith to ourselves with message content to confirm that it all went through. That is the employee facing side of what an employee might be using. In the managerial view, you'll find 3 additional menus on top of what's already there as an employee. So not only do you have time card, work schedule, and messages as a manager, you also have schedule builder, time card approval, and update hours. Now first, looking at schedule builder, we can get the employee schedule of the specified employee here, and looking down here, we can see it's loaded. Now, this is also an interactive menu, so let's set this schedule to be something a little different than what it is now. Let's say we want John Smith to end at 5 p.m. and let's say he starts at 9 a.m. We use the interactive menu to set that schedule, and then we click Update Schedule. This has now updated his schedule. It will take a few seconds for everything to go through, but once those few seconds have passed, we can then look at another person's schedule, such as Argyle de Silva, who has been left purposely blank for purposes of this demo. Looking back at John Smith, we get the employee schedule, and we can see it's there. If we go to John Smith's view, for example, we can see in his work schedule that it has been updated accordingly. Going back to the manager view, we have 2 more menus to look at. Time card approval is where you will see what has been flagged by the system for events such as working beyond scheduled hours or working on a day not scheduled. In this example, we'll cover these both. Now, first, we'll handle Buford Johnson. It says here they're flagged for working on a day not scheduled, but they've also worked 9 hours, so they have to be paid for those hours, but we'll make a denial reason after we handle this in update hours. In update hours, we can select an employee's name, as shown here, And so Buford Johnson, and also the hours to update. 9 hours, we click add. As you can see here, the hours have been added. If we were to take another person, for example, and try and remove hours they don't have, hours get set to 0 as to avoid workers occurring negative hours worked. Back to time card approval. Now that we have approved that, we're going to put a reason here as for why it's being clicked denied. Now we click deny, and that message goes through with this reason here. Now, if we look at messages, we'll see the most recent message being this one with the denial reason we have put here. Now, if we look at approval again, you might remember there's one additional message here. This message is from John Smith, who worked beyond scheduled hours. Now, let's say we know the reason why John Smith worked this, so instead, we're going to approve it. Now, there's nothing left here, and this represents that there's nothing more a manager needs to do here on the screen, for it is now blank. So, back to Schedule Builder, back to Messages, and you will see that this message has been successfully sent out. And if we look at Buford Johnson's account in this example, which is account 2, you will see the message was properly sent over. As you can see here, we've received it. If we go back to John Smith's account, you'll also see that that message has been received over here. Overall, this is EMPS, an employee management and payroll system.